right, let's welcome everybody back. This is Inside Look, South Jersey girls basketball. And today I have a special guest from Eastern. I want to let her introduce herself. We know her as Coach P. I don't want to mess up her last name, but she's a wonderful coach and person. I would like to have her introduce herself. Would you do that, please?
Hi, my name's Kristen Przybylski. Coach P, as everybody calls me.
Well, we're so glad to have you. I'm so glad that you, agreed to come on this little interview, this podcast. As you know, this is like really grassroots. We're just trying to start, a little movement in South Jersey. We want to get some, players, families, coaches, teams. We just want to build fans. We want to build camaraderie. We want to build up excitement in South Jersey, and we want to get to know the teams a little bit better. I love these interviews because I get an opportunity to talk to coaches and get to know them better, and you get a better appreciation for them, and you gain respect for that person. And I just love talking to you so far, and I just can't wait for everybody to learn more about you. Why don't we get
Thanks for
started?
having me.
Yeah, thank you. So can you tell us about your childhood? Where'd you grow up? Tell us about your family.
I'm originally from Baltimore. I was born in Baltimore. We moved here probably when I was about 5. So I've been up here ever since, but I go to Baltimore pretty regularly just to visit family and those types of things. But we moved here. I lived in Barrington first. So I went to Woodland Middle School, so it was kind of cool. And then we moved right after my 8th grade year to Voorhees. So I grew up in Voorhees, and I went to Eastern High School. So I live in Somerdale now. So
That's great. So what kind of sports did you play growing up?
I played softball and basketball.
Okay. So out of the two, which one was your favorite?
Basketball, of course.
All right, check it. And you went to Eastern, so you're a homegrown talent. So what about did you play those sports in high school as well? Did you play both in high school?
I played softball for the first couple of years, and then I just focused on basketball. So I played travel and just focused on one sport.
That's fantastic. So tell us about college. Tell us what you studied and what you ended up doing. Did you play sports in college or?
I did. I went to Camden County first, and then I went to Rowan. I played basketball at both. I have a bachelor's in health promotion, fitness management, and I have a master's from Rowan in wellness and lifestyle management.
That's fantastic. We were chatting a little bit earlier. I told you we would talk, and more. I just love that industry and the fact that you're helping people, which is fantastic. Let's go on to your coaching history. So how did you get started with coaching?
I was finishing college, and Mr. Zimmerman, who was a big South Jersey girls basketball supporter, fan, he got me into coaching South Jersey AAU. So I coached little 5th graders my last year of college. So that was fun. He gave me a taste of it the first time. And then my high school coach, Linda Bolger, asked me to come over and be a volunteer assistant at Cherry Hill East. She was a head coach at East. So I volunteered, the first year with her and got a taste of high school basketball, and it was a lot of fun. And then I got hired at Lindenwold, and I was an assistant at Lindenwold. And then, Eastern had an opening for JV. So I was like, oh, it's my school. So I just, I want to kind of apply and see what happens. So I got that job, and I spent 16 years at Eastern as an assistant with Joe Murphy. And then I had 1 year break. I was at Haddon Heights as an assistant. And then I got the head job at Eastern. So I was right back.
That's fantastic. I'm sure that they're glad to have you. I mean, I've talked to a number of people, and just the energy alone, I know I'll get it later, but when we played Eastern, I couldn't believe how loud the team was, and the kids who weren't playing on the bench. I mean, if I had to give an award for a team with the most team spirit, I would definitely put your team, because it was to your advantage. Actually, they were so loud and they were so impactful in the game and they were so engaged on the bench. I mean, to me, it was impressive. I mean, I noticed it. I bet you the kids notice it who are playing in the games. I mean, and the parents notice it. It's fantastic. That's great energy that you're bringing.
Yeah,
So,
there's best bench in South Jersey. That's what we say.
I would say, you know, it's my number one. So, but how did you come back to, like, what made you come back to Eastern? So what was, you know, you said you took that break for a year, and I guess opening.
Yeah, I mean, they posted for a head coach, and I was like, well, let me give it a shot, see if, you know, if I have a chance to getting hired. And I applied, and I had 2 great interviews. And you know, a day later, Mr. Pico called and offered me the job. So it was exciting. I got butterflies, like, so it was, I knew it was the right thing. So I was over the moon excited. So it's hard to put into words.
Yeah, I hear you. It's like you're so excited because, you know, you figure you went to that school,
Yeah.
now you're there coaching, and now you're bringing up the next generation of players and coaches. That's just fantastic. So why don't you talk a little bit about your coaching philosophy? So what are you, you know, what are you thinking about? What are you trying to instill in the kids as you're on the sidelines and you're in practices?
I mean, I always preach, you know, play hard, play together, play smart. You know, we're a team atmosphere. But as a coach, I feel like my goal is to always make a positive difference in their lives. And that's kind of my philosophy and approach to things. And I think that, you know, they bought into that, and they're a positive group with each other. They certainly play hard, and they play together, and they play smart. So they've embraced that concept, and so that's kind of what I live by on that. We're shaping our young athletes to be, you know, terrific women as they grow up. So we just want to, you know, make sure that we're making a positive difference there.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. You know, the good thing is some of these girls are just going to play in high school, and some of them will move on to college. But they can make friendships, if they can,
Mhm.
really just get that discipline of practicing, teamwork, buying into the program. I think it's going to make it enjoyable for them. They're going to create memories, and I mean, you know, Eastern is really going to be a phenomenal team. I mean, uh, just your philosophy alone, but just the chemistry that you're building, and obviously the talent that you have. You know, it really is going to play out on the court, which is fantastic. So, like, what kind of coach are you? You're like, are you the kind that's going to yell and scream? Are you more quiet on the sidelines? You know, you let the kids do the talking. What's your coaching style?
Um, I mean, I let my athletes have input. I think that helps them grow. Um, I'm a believer in some freedom and accountability. But as a style, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but you know, when I'm on the side, I mean, I'll go crazy. If they make a great play, I'm like a little kid cheering and you know, encouraging them and pumping them up as much as I possibly can. I'm not a chill, kind of relaxed kind of coach. So I think that they feed off of that, and they, you know, they like it. You know, they tell me all the time that it's awesome to see me getting into it and not just kind of standing there like a statue. And so I said, that'll never be me. You know, you hit a big shot and you win a game, I'm jumping in that pile with the rest of you. So that's just me, and that's how I approach it. But I think it's important to let them have some input. I think it helps them grow. You know, give them that freedom and accountability, and they seem to thrive off of that. And they, you know, they've really made a jump from last year to this year that I've seen. So yeah, that's more me. I'm not a micromanager or kind of hovering over every little thing. So
Yeah, I mean, I knew that's the kind of coach you were. I love that kind of energy. To me, when that's my coaching style. When I would coach my kids, you know, I get pumped up for them because I just want to see them do well. And I think, you know,
yeah,
when you get excited for the kids and you celebrate, you know, the little things for that with them, I think they enjoy it more. And obviously they want to please you as a coach. They want to make you proud. But, you know, it's that confidence that you instill in the kids that's going to help them become successful. And if you
yeah,
can get the kid to be confident, I have no doubt that, you know, the skills are there anyway. They're just going to be able to perform. You know, a lot of these kids just don't have the confidence, you know, and it might not be in them. So somebody's got to, you know, kind of push them along the way. And if you're that kind of coach, I mean, you're going to get a lot out of your kids, and they're going to play 110%, and they're going to give you more than they got, and they're going to just, you know, be such a benefit to the program, which is phenomenal. I love that.
It's funny you say that, because I noticed last year some of them were a little timid in the beginning and not having a whole lot of confidence. And as the year was going on, you could see that confidence come out, and they're shining, and then I see the difference this year, and I'm like, wow, like, you know, they're beaming with it, and they want to play everyone, and they're not afraid to play anyone. So that's fantastic, and that's what I was hoping for, and it only took 1 year. so I was like proud of them.
I mean, you guys gave Cherokee an unbelievable game last year. I mean, I was very, very impressed. I mean, we'll talk about that later, but I was wowed when we went to Eastern. I'm like, man, this team's for real. They just need like another year or two as far as growth of the kids and in the program, just to know, you know, to feel more comfortable, have that chemistry. But you got some talent, and they're really, really well coached, really well coached. So the cool thing is, you know, since you went to Eastern, you'll have a little bit more history to share about the program. So why don't you talk about, you know, what it was like to be a student at Eastern, like, you know, playing and then compare it to now, and what's the difference?
I mean, I always tell the kids I loved being a student at Eastern. I had a great experience. You know, I played for Linda Bolger. She's a Hall of Fame coach. You know, her and I still keep in touch. We talk. You know, when she found out that I got the head job, she was so excited for me. She even came to a game last year during the SJIBT, because she lives in Florida, so she was in town. So she came to a game, but she called me like right before the season started, wished me luck, and just like this year, she called me. We started January 11th, and she called me, I think, on the 8th. And she's like, when you start? And I'm like, the 11th. And she's like, oh, and, you know, so we had a, you know, big conversation. She's proud. She's excited. You know, and I tell the girls all the time, you know, you may not always agree with your coach from time to time. And, you know, you might, you know, have disagreements or whatever. I said, you know, I had my share with Miss Bolger, but she taught me a lot. She taught me a lot about being a player, about being a coach, and I'm grateful to her for that. You know, so she always told me, you know, I'd be like, oh, Bolge, you know, the refs, they missed this call, they missed that call, and she'd always say, Kristen, you got to give 10 points to the refs. Always give 10 points, because that, you know, that's just the way it is. And so she never gave me that satisfaction. She's always like, no, you got to give them 10 points and go from there. And so I had a great experience playing. You know, I made a lot of great friendships. Still friends with some of them to this day. So it's fun, you know, and I tell them to embrace it. It goes by quick. You blink and it's over. But Eastern's a great school, academically, athletically. You know, you kind of get everything. It's a great school, and told them take advantage of it. Take advantage of everything it has to offer. But yeah, I mean, I had great experience. I loved it.
So what's it like to be a coach now at the school that you know grew up in? So what's that like? What's that like?
It was a little weird at first when I first started, because, you know, 16, 17 years ago when I started as an assistant, you know, some of the teachers thought I was a student because I looked really young. And then some of my teachers were still teaching there. So it was like, it was weird. And I would be like, oh, hey, you know, Mr. Stick, or hey, you know, and they'd be like, oh, you don't have to call me. I can't. Like, I still call Miss Bolger Coach Bolger or Miss Bolger, because I just can't call her Linda. I just can't do it. So that kind of was weird for me, because, you know, there were teachers that were still there. They weren't retired yet. But it is awesome to be able to say that I coach at my alma mater. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Well, I'm sure they're glad to have you, and we'll be there for years to
Yeah.
come. Let's talk about last year. I know it was your first year. So, here you are, you interviewed for the job, you get the second interview and you're probably sitting there waiting by the phone, and every text message and every phone call, you're just probably like, oh, is that the AD? Is that the AD? And then your friends are probably asking, did you get the job? Did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? So you get this job and now you have to start planning. So, what were your expectations and goals, going into the season as a first year coach?
Well, like I said, I was familiar with the juniors and seniors. I wasn't too familiar with the freshmen and sophomores. So I really had to learn a little bit about them all and kind of see where they all fit. I did follow them the year before. I did go to a couple games. So I got to see a little bit of what they could do. But some of those sophomores really, I was pleasantly surprised, Mia and Maya and Sanaa. I didn't know a whole lot about them, but they surprised me, and we just kind of told them what I was expecting and what I was looking for, and they stepped up to the challenge and really did it with enthusiasm. They came together as a team right out the gate. I mean, they wanted to win. They were excited to have a new coach. So they made it easy for me. They really did. It was an easy transition. They had two new coaches. They had me, they had my assistant coach Landis. I kept the freshman coach, Megan Liberty, which is funny because I coached Megan when she was at Eastern. So Megan is an alumni as well. We always bust on Coach Landis because he's a Cherokee alumni.
That's
And
what
he actually played for Ron Powell when Ron was coaching the boys. So, we tease him and the girls tease him, but he's a good sport, and, we have fun with it. But yeah, it's a little weird when my players start getting married and having kids. So makes you feel old after a while. But no, I mean, like I said, they made it easy. The transition. They bought in the system very quickly. They're a smart group. They learn plays very, very quickly. We ran an up-tempo style. I like up-tempo. We have the horses to do that, so why not, right? We kind of did it with Cherokee in that game, and it suited us well. We just came up short a little bit, but yeah, I mean, they love the style that I coach, so that makes it easy.
No, like I said, I was very impressed in that first Eastern game, because I mean, all over. I mean, Mike from SJBT is like, oh, he's like, upset alert, upset alert, upset alert, and I was like, I was in the stands of the game. I'm like, I think we're gonna lose this game. I didn't think we were gonna get it, but I mean, in the spirit of competition, everybody goes out there, and I mean, you gave one heck of a game. I mean, that was a very, very, that was like a wake up call. For sure. I was like I said, I was very impressive. Maybe we can talk about that.
But they're the type of games you want to be part of, whether you're on the winning or losing end. I mean, everybody wants to win, but you want to be part of those types of games. I mean, the energy, the atmosphere, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, so definitely.
I know that's the thing I missed the most this year, is that, is not being able to be there. I mean, part of it's I love seeing the kids. I love seeing the families. I just love the expression of the kids' faces when they're competing, and when they do really well, they smile and they're just like so pumped up. They're giving each other high fives. Just all that, and you just get pulled into it, and you root for the kids, even if they're not my kids. And I mean, I told you earlier, Gianna, for example, in the Cherokee game, she was lights out, and to me, I can appreciate a player. She's on the other team, but I'm not taking it away from her. I was like, wow. I said, this kid is just having the game of her life. I think she could close her eyes, shoot it over her head, and it was still going. It was the type of night she was having. So, I mean, I think games like that, to set you up for success later in the year, because, I mean, if you can hang and give Cherokee that game, I mean, you're going to hang with pretty much everybody in our area. And that was a phenomenal game. And that was the thing that, that really, I was really impressed by with your team last year is, you're a new coach, so 500 is something that maybe, yeah, 500, that's a good goal. I mean, but you had a really nice run. You gave some good games. I mean, every game that you played, I'm sure, was pretty competitive against the tougher teams. I mean, you made it to the playoffs. So talk about what was, maybe a couple of your favorite moments or favorite games from last year that you want to talk about.
I could probably name a couple, but two that really stuck out was our game against Washington Township, the first time at home. Our girls just came in ready to go, and we beat them. And that was the first time we beat Washington Township in 10 years.
Wow.
So that was a huge win for us. And I even lost a bet to Kelly. She's like, if we win, you have to do a TikTok video with me. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, I didn't think she'd hold me to it. And right after the game, in the locker room, got to do TikTok. So I had to do that. She made it easy for me though. I just had to do something simple. But yeah, no, that game was, we just, like the Cherokee game, we just played really well and we executed, and Mia played a phenomenal game. She shut Johns down, and she dropped 25 points by herself, and then Kelly had like 23. I mean, it was a great game. All 5 players and bench players played excellent. They competed. So that was a memorable game for us. And the other one, even though we lost, was the first time we played Cherokee, because it was a great game, and it was back and forth, and the kind of game you want to be part of, and the girls were looking forward to the rematch. And so even this year they want to play you guys, and they want to play the top teams and see what we can do and how we measure. So but definitely by far those two. And our conference is brutal, so every year we're all battling it out. So whether it's Township, Cherokee, Lenape, Shawnee, I mean, it doesn't matter. We always look forward to playing each other. So it's always like a bloodbath.
That's why it's, you get a team like Shawnee who, through the year they were just learning, and then when they got hot at the right moment, I mean, in the playoffs, they're 14 seed, made to the South Jersey States, and it's because they're in the Olympic Conference. A lot of their games were lost, at the end of the game earlier in the season, because they didn't have that good chemistry coming in yet. They were still a young team. I mean, Nia Scott's still young, so they're losing games that maybe they could have won those games earlier in the year, but it kind of like made them the underdog, the little Cinderella team, because people probably look past like, oh, the 14th team, no worries, we'll beat them. And I mean, they took down some really good teams just to make it to the finals. And for you guys to play Washington Township, I'll tell you what, Emily Johns, to me, is like, she's just a powerhouse underneath the basket. She grabs every rebound. She finishes at the basket. She's a tough competitor. I mean, she knows how to use her size. I mean, she was like, she was one of my favorite players to watch in South Jersey last year. And, the fact that you guys won, I mean, she makes you have to adjust your playing, because if you try to man up on her all the whole game, you can't, because she's going to get you in foul trouble, or she's going to, call create a mismatch where she's going to get a double team, triple team, and then they're going to pass it out and somebody's going to shoot and hit 3-pointers. So it really makes you work. I mean, she's just a nice player and a nice kid too. Really just, friendly, just unbelievable attitude. And then Kelly, last year, I was so impressed. There was a couple plays where the ball was like thrown high. I mean, it was high. I don't think Shaquille O'Neal would have caught this ball. But all of a sudden, like, Kelly from somewhere jumps up and catches this ball. And I'm like, how is this kid jumping so high? I mean, I watched a highlight of hers, and she blocked a shot of a post player, was like a center. I'm like, how is this kid doing this? So, I mean, for being a first-year coach, I think you had a stacked deck with players. You know what I mean? You had energy, you had heart, you had talent. You had really good players. I mean, good chemistry for the first year. I mean, you walked into the right situation.
Yeah. They did really well. It was the best record they had in 10 years. So they were 16-10. You know, they were under 500 the last 6-7 years, I guess. And so, you know, it was great. I mean, like I said, they made it easy. They just let me coach, and they're very coachable, and they just did what we asked them to do. And, you know, we were lucky to be successful. So, yeah, and Mia she came out of her shell, and she just got better each game. I can't wait to see what she does this year.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching, like I told you earlier, we watched them when they were younger, and
Mhm.
they were 8th graders, and my daughter was a 7th grader, and those kids they were awesome. They were really excellent. They were like the cream of the crop of that year.
Yeah.
I remember talking to some parents from Voorhees, and they were saying that that team didn't lose a travel game since 4th grade. So you figure
Yeah.
they were all through those years without losing. I mean, they were very formidable. They were just unbelievable kids. I mean, great players.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know
So,
I know that Kelly's, over at LaSalle now. She's moved on. So
yep.
what's it like, not having her, and how are you going to adjust? Because she brings a lot of energy. She's just a nice kid. She's your floor general. So how are you going to adjust this year?
Well, I don't want to give my secrets away. um, you know, it's the next man mentality, next man up. You know, and we got a couple players that are really coming out of their shell, and are really stepped up and are going to fill, you know, a nice big void. She is leaving a big void. She was a tremendous athlete. But we have a couple nice players that that could make some noise, and I'm excited to see how they do. So
That's fantastic. I mean, I think that's going to be awesome. I can't wait for the game. I'm like so excited. I mean, you figured the season
yeah,
for the state starts tomorrow, which is going to be fantastic. So
yeah,
I know that it's like 15 games. There's no championship. There's no conference championship. There's no state. There's no county. So I mean, you're just getting to 15 games, and I guess we're making the best of it. But like, what are you doing to kind of adjust, and like, what are your goals for your team? How are you getting them prepared? What are your goals for the season this year?
we've come up with a goal, basically. You know, knock somebody off that we're not supposed to. Go out there and beat somebody that we aren't supposed to, and that's a reward in itself. And so we're kind of gunning for those top dogs above us, and you know have some fun with that. And the other goal is just to be able to play, like you and I had talked about. We want to do this season for our seniors, and we have two seniors, Gianna and Caitlin. So we want to be able to get through this season and play for them, um, and just be healthy. You know what I mean? So those are really our main two goals, or maybe and one more, maybe to get better as a team, because we're still growing. We still got a couple newcomers, coming onto varsity, and everybody's got to gel together. So, get better, knock off someone we're not supposed to, and get through the season for our seniors.
So what are your like team strengths? What would you say, like, going into a game, this is what I'm going to rely on? I know it's energy on the bench. I mean, that's a given. That's not a secret. Everybody knows now. Is anybody who's played in Eastern, I mean, if you looked at the place, you would have thought it was packed to the top, and it was loaded with 15,000 people. And really, it's however many people you have on the bench. I mean, they're like making so much noise in there. So, what are your strengths as a team?
Yeah, I was told they couldn't even hear the cheerleaders. So that was cool. Yeah, definitely our bench. That feeds our players. Our players feed off that. But we're not a small team. I think we have good size. We have speed. Um, we're pretty strong. I don't think you can push us around. We have some good shooters. We have some good ball handlers. I think overall we're a well-balanced team. So it leaves many, many options for me, which makes it fun. They can be creative and you can do different things. I have a bunch of athletes. I have a lot of lacrosse players. and some of them have signed to play lacrosse. So, it's fantastic when you have athletes and you can do the different types of things that you want to do. So we have a lot of strengths, and I think we're well balanced. So
That's great. So
yeah,
have you chose your captains this year?
I have. So my two seniors, Gianna Rulo and Caitlin Henry, and my two juniors, Maya Edwards and Mia Robbins.
That's great. No, I was talking to Coach Handy, and it was funny because I guess Coach Powell had listened to the podcast, and he's like, "Oh, I want to steal that idea." I guess he made his captains take this leadership course with NFHS, and
Yeah, I heard that too, and I was like, "That's a great,
yeah.
great idea."
So, I mean, at least we're learning, and leadership's just an important part. I mean, not even only on the basketball court, but it's just in life in general. I think it's cool that you guys can learn from each other. So what do you expect from your captains? What do you expect them to do in order to help you manage the team and be successful, on a day in and day out basis?
I think they're an extension of me. So, on the court, being able to help guide the team. I also expect them to be leaders and positive role models. You have freshmen and sophomores who look up to you. Be positive, and it's okay to have a captain who might more be quiet and lead by example, and then you have other ones that might be more vocal. So I think that's what makes it, have a nice variety. But positive role models and an extension of me is basically what I look for.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think just to have extra hands
Mhm.
on deck, and also like a voice that the girls will listen to. They listen to their peers. They respect those players, especially
Right.
if they have a strong work ethic, and they're just good players, good kids, and just respectful. I mean, that's going to rub off on your team. So that's really good for the culture of the team. So talk about your schedule a little bit. I mean, I think you're going to be playing some really good teams this year. Going in. So how are you preparing with only 3 weeks? To get together here.
Yeah, I mean, we just hit the ground running. I told them to make sure they came in prepared, condition wise, because we didn't have a whole lot of time, to do that. But we just hit the ground running. The girls were excited to get back in the gym. To walk in every day and just see the smiles on their face makes it all worthwhile. I mean, they even stay 20, 30 minutes after practice ends and they're in there shooting, which I think is great. They're working on their game and trying to get better, and that's awesome. But yeah, we just hit the ground running. We're just preparing for our first games, and hopefully we get to play them sometime next week. So
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, at this point, just keep on practicing, keep the kids healthy.
yep.
Let them have fun. I mean, because a lot of these kids are making sacrifices they're in their own mini bubble, just to give their team a chance, an opportunity to have those 15 games for the 6 weeks that we do have. So it really means a lot to everybody. I know everybody's making sacrifices. The coaches are making sacrifices. The players are making sacrifices. The families are making sacrifices. And it's just because we want to give our kids the opportunity. Now, 15 games to me is not a lot.
No.
But in this current state of the world, I mean, 15 games is the world for them. It gives them something to look forward to, gets them out of the house, and it gets them something to be excited about. I mean, finally. I mean, COVID's going to be 1 year old, the quarantine. I remember March 13th, Friday, and they started canceling classes. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So, I mean, we're going to do it. This is awesome.
And I'm just trying to make it fun for the kids too, not trying to be too serious, but just, have a little fun. Like I had a professional photographer come and take, professional shots of them, and they loved it. They had a blast. Just trying to do something different. And, we got some shooting shirts and we got team masks, and Coach Landis tells me I spoil them, and the girls would go, yeah, and your point. But we have a lot of fun. But I want it to be memorable, and I want the seniors to have a great last year. And so we try to do some different things, and we just try to have fun too. You know what I mean? So, that was my goal, is just to attack it that way. And so far so good. So, we'll keep grinding, and when we meet Cherokee, we'll be ready.
Sounds good. We'll be looking forward to that.
Well, any Olympic conference, we'll be ready.
So, you talked about your seniors, and
Mhm.
I was talking a little bit about, how can we celebrate these seniors? So I'm actually looking for ideas too. But how can we celebrate these seniors? And they're not letting parents in the gyms, and what can we do to make their night special? Their last hurrah or whatever.
Yeah, it's really tough to come up with something that we can do. I'm hoping that at some point we can have at least the senior parents in, so that they can have a proper senior night if we can, hopefully. But if not, when I think it was your interview with Anthony, I loved your idea that the parents were all outside, and the kids come out, and you kind of cheering them on. I thought that was a great idea. So I think it's important that maybe we all can bounce ideas off each other, but make it special, something special for them.
Yeah, I think it's not the experience that you want for the kids, but let's make the memories. I mean, I actually just graduated a group of karate students, so we weren't able to do a graduation for our black belts in spring. We put it off, and we did it in December. But then when we went through the testing, the governor reduced the indoor capacity so low. There was, between all of the schools that we have in America, there was over 100 candidates. So there was no venue that we could even go in that we're going to be able to house everybody. So we did a little in-house thing here. I put up balloons, I had to make posters, I had DJ lights. And I'll tell you what, I had so many of the kids come up to me and say, wow, that was just cool. It was just different. They're going to remember it. It's not going to be like past. I mean, you got to get past that. We just got to make it so it's, memorable and exciting, for them, so that they feel like, wow, I worked hard for 4 years, let me, soak it in and enjoy this moment, because for some of these kids, they'll never play again. I mean, like they play through high school, and then they decide when they get to college, either, it's not for them, or their major's not going to allow them to, or for whatever reason. So we want to make sure that we got to find a way to reward these kids for working hard for the last, not even 4 years. I mean, some of these kids started basketball when they were in kindergarten. It's been most of their life. So let's just do that.
I mean, I like that. I did like that idea. I thought that was cool. So hopefully, I mean, I'm not rushing into it, because I'm trying to think of something special, and hopefully we can do something.
The one thing I liked was you had that ball made for Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really, really cool. I thought that was awesome. Maybe I don't know, maybe get a ball made for the seniors with the date or something like that, and maybe have all the kids sign it. I don't know. I remember being in the soccer parties, and we would get a soccer ball, and the kids would sign the soccer ball for the coach, and it was like you couldn't even read their handwriting. But something different, something special, something they can have.
Yeah, it was great. One of the art teachers at Eastern painted it for me, for her 1,000-point. So it was cool. She did a great job. Kelly loved it. And so I was like, make sure you give Miss Hughes a shout out. So, but yeah, she did a fantastic job. And and it was one of our balls that we played with. So that's even more special, I think.
Let's get back a little bit. So, we're getting ready to wrap up here. What are your keys to success for your team this year? So, like, if you're sitting down with your assistants, if you're sitting down with your team in your team meeting, and you're going over things, you're going to say, if you were to say to the team, like, hey, if we're going to be successful this year, we have to do the following. So, like, what are some of the things that you want them to do in order for them to be successful and compete in every game this year?
Focus, teamwork, patience is key, because I noticed last year there were times where we weren't very patient, and it cost us, so that's something that we need to work on. So I told them, in order for us to be successful, we need to work on our patience, and kind of let it develop, run the play, or, see how it's going to come out, instead of rushing and taking the first shot, rushed. But our focus has to be there. And so these are some of the key terms that we used, as a team.
Right.
But teamwork was number one, right up there. We got to work together as a team. And you know what, they do, and they're great together. They work so well together. So I don't anticipate that being a problem. And we preach it every day. So yeah, so I would say those are some successful keys that we talk about.
Okay. So I think we talked about it before the interview, but how are your fans going to be able to watch the game this year? Because I know that any parent like me, like they love watching their kids play. They want to be there to support the team. So what are you doing for the fans?
Eastern's going to live stream it. We have a media department, so they're going to live stream all the games. And it's really cool. One of the parents was able to hook it up with OTS right in Voorhees, and they're going to live stream our games. So the parents can go to OTS and watch the games if they want. They're going to put them on 3 different screens. So I thought that was pretty cool. The girls were a little embarrassed, but I was like, why? You're big time. You're on the screens at OTS, that's awesome. So we'll definitely live stream it. Our AD will send it out, either the day before or the day of our game. And you'll be able to access it. It's a YouTube channel, so everybody should be able to access it.
That's pretty awesome. I like the idea of being able to, if the fans aren't going to gather here, they're going to gather, maybe somewhere else. I mean, different tables and stuff like that, but maybe that'll bring the families closer together, and maybe even just, even bit better in the long run, and it's only right down the street. So it's not like they're far away. So that's perfect.
Yeah. And he's still following COVID protocols, and he's going to have tables separate, you still got to wear your masks in there. I mean, he's still going to follow all those procedures. And but he's pretty excited about it. 2 of our girls work there, so it's it's fun. But I thought that was a great idea. Gives parents something different to do than maybe sit at home and watch it. They're only down the street. Maybe it'll make them feel like they're there. So that's what we're gonna do. They're gonna even do the away games, so it's kind of cool to see the support in the community too.
Yeah, I love that idea. I'm gonna have to tell our booster club about that. I mean, I just love that idea. That's fantastic.
It's smart.
Plus, it helps a local business.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's going on. I mean, businesses are hurting, left and right. And if you're playing on a Tuesday night, it might be a quiet night for these places, or a Thursday night.
Right.
Why not give them some business and bring some people in? And help them, and obviously they'll be supporters of the program for years to come, which is fantastic. Maybe this could be something that goes on in the future, even in an away game, because there's parents that aren't going to be able to travel. Maybe they'll just stay local and go to OTS, and they can stream the games, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, my AD was even thinking, like, next year when we have fans back, but maybe still live stream, just to have the 2 options in case someone can't get to the game, and they're already thinking outside the box, moving ahead. So it's kind of cool. It's different. We are going to miss the fans, but we did do fan cutouts. So we're going to have fan cutouts in the stands. So we're excited. It'll be cool to see that. Yeah. So I'm like, bring them on. We'll have something in there.
Well, the thing is, to me, as the kids are going to have they're going to have war stories to tell. Remember that time when we had COVID and we didn't even have fans, and there were these cutouts. So at least make the best of the situation. I mean, obviously it's not a really good situation in our area, in the country. We're just, so thankful for the kids to have the opportunity. So just make it fun and just let them enjoy. That's awesome. One of the things that we talked about before the interview is, how could we grow, girls basketball in the area? So, that's one of the questions I asked before we finish up. So, what's something that you can do to develop maybe the kids in your area and get them ready for Eastern when they become high schoolers?
I mean, I think just getting involved in the community and getting the younger kids more involved. Maybe having a middle school game before a high school game, and doing different things, with the kids in the community and the parents, getting them on board, getting them to promote, women's basketball. I think you guys are, do a great job already with the, the podcast and doing these kids, the athlete interviews and getting to know the coaches. I think it's great idea. I think it'll help promote it a little bit more, getting to know everybody at different schools. I'm looking forward to seeing what other interviews you do and, getting to know some of the other coaches in the area that I may not know that well. I think what you guys are doing is great. Mike with the SJIBT, that's awesome. That tournament is great. I like that tournament. I love being the host there. I love being a part of it. And, I think Anthony said the same thing. We're up there right from the start. First minute the doors open, we're there. And it's just fun to watch basketball all day. Some great teams in the area. They get some exposure. You get to talk to coaches and just hang out with the coaches and just have a good time. I think that is huge. So just doing more and getting, girls basketball on the map a little bit more, I think will help in the long run.
Yeah, I think so too. One of the things I notice is in North Jersey, in the Shore especially, those girls all train together. They compete against each other in rival high schools, but a lot of them play on the same AAU teams. A lot of them train out of the same programs. There's, these huge facilities out there, and they're all working together. And the one thing I noticed about here in this area is that the kids are just like in their own little bubble, their own little island. And, the kids from Eastern, although they're good kids, they don't mix with the Cherokee kids too often. You know what I mean? Like outside of, the high school season where maybe they could all train together in the summertime. What's the difference? Like that was my actual goal. Like, I really wanted to set it up last year in the summertime. It just didn't happen because of COVID. I just didn't want to set up that situation, but I would love to say, hey, we're going to go to the park, anybody who wants to, we'll tell a couple of coaches, the kids want to show up, or order pizzas or something like that. The kids can hang out, they'll play together, they'll play against each other, mix the teams up. Nothing like too serious, but just for them to, stay connected to the game, stay connected with other kids in the area, because you never know, they're going to play each other. Maybe if they go to college, they'll be teammates together. They might be roommates together. They might meet friends. That's one of the things that I would like to see happen more often, is just more people from the area getting together and playing and training together. Whether it's an organized or just say, hey, let's just get to the park. But I think that's something that would be great. And also get some college kids that are home from the summer.
I agree. I think that's a great idea. And, coaches can help play a big role in that, getting their kids, out there and doing different things. And, right now we just have summer league, and that's all they really do. And then they have their AAU with their, other teammates. So I think, that would be a great idea. I think sounds like fun.
I have it all worked out. I have all these grand plans, and I was, messaging, parents and saying, hey, what do you think? And they're like, oh yeah, it's a great idea. But, I was thinking that in my mind that COVID would be gone, or like would have calmed down throughout the summer. And, as the summer went on, it just got, pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And then by the time things opened up, it just wasn't there. But I'm thinking maybe this summer,
maybe this summer we'll be able to. We'll see. Yeah, it was just bad timing, I'm hoping that, we can be back to normal at some point. A year is a long time.
I know.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. But I think that the kids that are staying active and the coaches that are working with their kids are going to be, ahead of the game. And that's why I said to you before the podcast is, some of these travel programs, some of these kids only play the sport that's in the season. So if you play basketball and only play basketball during the wintertime, if you didn't get a season this year, you're really not playing until a whole other year. So it's a 2-year gap. So it's going to hurt programs across the country, there's going to be a dip in the talent or skill level. Development is going to really suffer. And I think that there's got to be a way to make that better, and really encourage the kids and get them excited. I mean, the other thing too is, like there's just not as many players as there used to be, I think. I mean, there's, soccer is playing all year round, lacrosse plays all year round, softball plays all year round. So, I mean, to me, basketball seasons turned into the in-between season to prepare for the spring season. And they kind of like give up basketball, where there's a lot of really good, players out there. And I think if they could just stick with it, they really develop. I mean, the other thing I noticed too is, it's easier to pick up a soccer ball and develop skills early because the ball's on the ground. I mean, really, it does take talent. I mean, I'm not taking that away from any soccer player. My daughter's played soccer, and my younger daughter still plays it now. But basketball, I think, is a little bit more complicated. There's a lot more skills involved. You have to be more aware and focused during the game because there's really no taking time off. I mean,
yeah.
When you have the ball, you're in it, because out of the five, I mean, that ball's moving around, you're going to get it. And then when the ball comes back and you're on defense, you have to get back. I mean, you have to be involved with the play. There's, only time that you get a break is if the ball goes out, or if there's a foul or the end of the quarter or timeouts.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
They're used to running all day long. So
well, hopefully this summer, maybe we can get something together and get these kids going. I mean, like I said, that'd be a great idea.
Yeah,
I'm for it.
I mean, up north, they do a league called No Boys Allowed. I don't know if you follow that, but they're out of Elizabeth. I mean, they basically shifted the program outdoors, and they ran an outdoor, league like they would in the inside. And I thought that was phenomenal. I mean, we could even run a little mini league, the kids play. Yeah. I mean, there's just so many ideas, and it's just all about the kids having fun and just, fueling their passion. I mean, I'm a big proponent that, if a kid really wants it, they really want to learn, let's give them every opportunity to, because eventually that motivation, the energy, that drive is going to be lost unless you feed it at that moment. And these kids are so young, and I think that, if they fall in love with the game, I think that they're going to, really, really, be able to take the things they learn from basketball with them their whole life. I mean, that's why I really respect the coaches. I'm trying to reach out to different coaches that I've never even talked to or learned about, because, I mean, to me, it's a community, and I think there has to be a mutual respect. And I think, sometimes people think they only want to see, the top teams, but there's nothing wrong with that. But there's great talent across the state. There's great coaches across the state. There's great people across the state. And I think for us to have a better respect for our community, we just have to have an opportunity to grow and to meet. I mean, this is just a phenomenal thing. I just love talking to you. I mean, I feel like we could be talking all night. I mean, you're such a great personality, just great person. And
thank you.
I remember running into you at Easter, and it was I think you were scouting a game, and then I found out that you not Easter, it was Paul VI when my daughter was playing when she was younger. I think you were with Kendra.
Yeah.
When you were with
I was with Kendra.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, and I found out you got the coach, and I just started smiling. I'm like, this is great. I'm just happy for people. I mean, I want to see people that are in their job or in their coaching position that love kids, that love developing people, that are in it because they love it. If you're in it for a career, that's great. But if you're in it just to change lives, I mean, what better place to change lives than on a basketball court, And I think these kids are going to be, such in a better place by, being with these coaches. And I think that's something that we have to promote, and learning styles too. Like, you're picking up information, everybody's picking up something. We learn from each other. We have to learn from the best. And I think sometimes that's what hurts South Jersey, is there's a certain sense of pride or ego. And, sometimes we don't network with each other. We don't talk to each other. We don't even talk to other parents. And I think that once we start, walking across the side of the bleachers from the visitors section to the home section and start introducing yourself and start talking, I think that this isn't going to change. We need to figure out how to get people to be friendly and have that camaraderie. I mean, to me, that's
you got to be, you have to cheer each other on. And, the South Jersey final with Cherokee and Shawnee, I was there. I was watching, and, I'm friends with Coach McGovern, and, I was cheering for, Shawnee, but I was cheering for Cherokee too. So, two great programs, two great coaches. It's fun to watch. And, her team was like a Cinderella team, man. She had them peaking at the right time. She's a great coach. So it was fun to watch them as they went through the bracket. Yeah, I mean, it's great to get to know some of the coaches. I'm looking forward to seeing who else you interview, and I know quite a few of them, but there's some I don't know. So definitely would like to learn more about them and see how we go. But you're right, we all need to support each other and push each other. And Cherokee was going to the state final. Of course you want them to win. It's our conference, it's our area. You support them. And it was a shame that it got stopped right there. I mean, that's brutal. But in our eyes, they were the champions. So
Yeah,
we'll take that.
we feel the same way. I mean, we were definitely disappointed. I mean, the sad part is the kids found out from social media before Coach Powell could talk to the kid. That was the most upsetting to me, I think, because you're a coach. You want to be able to break the news to your kids. I mean, you want them to find out through the rumor mill, and then they're like wondering and panicking, and now they're getting upset. And I mean, you want to be able to set the tone, and you want to be able to, be a straight shooter and tell them like, hey, this is what's happening. There's a pandemic going on, and unfortunately, they decided the best thing to do was to cancel the games. But the sad part is they won't have it again this year.
I know.
So those kids that have been working hard for their 4 years to have their 4 years, kind of got gypped a little bit.
Yeah, it stinks, and it's brutal. But like I tell the girls, take each day as a blessing, and if we can get 15 games, I mean, that's great. You know what I mean? And just got to take it one day at a time, really. It's all we can ask for.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is just, we're just living on really like just borrowed time sometimes, because you just don't know what's happening. I mean, with all these cases happening and people getting sick, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, basketball is such a small part. I mean, we want to give the kids the best opportunity possible. We need to keep them safe. We need to make sure that, we also, respect the fact that, that people are getting sick, and we want to make sure that we protect everybody.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not.
We told them that, when you go to play a game, play it like it's your last, because it could be. Yeah. So, you just have to kind of think that way this year and kind of go that way. So hopefully.
No, I really have good thoughts. I think that this is like a learning year. I think it's just a lesson to realize, to appreciate things for what they are. And I really feel like next year things are going to start getting back to normal. Hopefully state championships, different things like that. Exactly. And then the kids will have their moment to shine. And this is basically this is their forum. This is their this is everything that they work towards, and I just want to make sure that they have that opportunity.
I agree 100%.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think this is just phenomenal, and I hope we stay in touch, and I'll be texting you and bugging you through the weeks, and just how your team's doing. We do wish you the best of luck. I know that you're going to compete every time you're on the floor. I think you're going to catch some teams sleeping, and you're really going to give them a run for their money, and that's awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be a great year for you. You grow in those kids, develop those kids, and I think you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, good luck to you guys too. And like I said, we look forward to our meeting, and I hope you guys have a safe and healthy season as well. And we're all in this together, right? So might as well pull for each other, and yeah. So I hope you guys have a safe and healthy season, and wish you the best. And I thank you for interviewing me. This was fun. I love talking to you. I love talking about basketball. I could talk about basketball for hours. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, me too. I really appreciate it. We'll end the interview now, and we can talk a little bit more. Okay. Take care.
All right. Have a good one.